Tonight, News 4, the only local outlet live streaming the arrival of Venezuela's president captured by U.S. forces overnight. In fact, less than an hour ago, Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro arriving in New York. Welcome to the special edition of News 4 at 5. I'm Jonathan Martinez.
I'm Mandy Noel. We're following major developments in this case right now as the U.S. takes military action in Venezuela. Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro removed from the country and indicted on criminal charges in New York.
Now, it all comes after U.S. forces raided the Venezuela capital early this morning.
The attack in the country's capital of Caracas early this morning, satellite footage from NASA captured strong heat signatures following a series of explosions.
A TV station in Venezuela also airing this footage today showing the aftermath of that very strike. At this time, no U.S. service members are reported to have been killed during this operation. President Trump sharing this picture of Maduro on social media today following the raid. Both Maduro and his wife were flown out of the country. The two reportedly landed in New York around 4:30 local time. Now, the raid comes after months of threats by the Trump administration demanding the country stop its alleged drug trafficking. U.S. forces have been carrying out strikes against suspected drug boats in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific since early September.
We have team coverage tonight. News 4 San Antonio's Phil Sterling and Joy Bergen will join us a little later.
Yeah, but we do want to start tonight with national correspondent Christine Frizzell, who has the very latest on the operation.
A series of explosions in the middle of the night, followed by the capture of Venezuelan leader Nicolás Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores.
This operation, known as Operation Absolute Resolve, was discreet, precise, and conducted during the darkest hours of January 2nd and was the culmination of months of planning and rehearsal.
President Trump sharing this photo of Maduro on board the USS Iwo Jima en route to New York, where he'll face multiple charges outlined in this indictment, including narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, and possession of machine guns and destructive devices.
He is a fugitive of American justice. You have a guy who decides he's going to invite Iran into his country, is going to, do the confiscation of American oil companies, is going to flood our country with gang members.
Perhaps most shocking to the world, this announcement by the president.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition.
President Trump suggesting Secretary of State Rubio and Defense Secretary Hegseth will help, working with a group inside Venezuela, making clear the transition involves oil.
We're going to take back the oil that, frankly, we should have taken back a long time ago. A lot of money is coming out of the ground. We're going to get reimbursed for all of that. We have to be surrounded by safe, secure countries. And we also have to have energy. Very important.
Democrats slamming the announcement.
This is insane. What the hell are we doing? I mean, we've got a lot of problems in America today. And invading, occupying, running Venezuela does not solve any of them.
President Trump and his team made clear they did not notify members of Congress before the attack. They say out of fear of leaks that could have endangered the mission. Top Democrats, meanwhile, are warning the operation sets a precedent that could make it more justifiable for countries like Russia and China to oust leaders of countries they dislike. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.
And they're celebrating tonight in the largest Venezuelan community in the United States. Venezuelans in the Miami area waved flags, chanted, and sang the Venezuelan national anthem. Some in the crowd say this is the first step towards what they hope will be a free and democratic time for the country.
And people have held on to the faith and hope that we were going to have a Venezuela that's free. It came today. It came today. So the last thing you lose is hope.
While many celebrate, there are others tonight protesting the U.S. military action.
Our team coverage continues at News 4 San Antonio's Phil Sterling.
He is live from the north side where people who are opposed to the military strike are protesting tonight.
That's right, Jonathan, Mandy, it's all happening here at San Pedro Road and Bassey Road at the intersection. Take a look at what's going on behind me. They were marching in a circle around the intersection. The people who have come out here are against the U.S. action to capture Maduro and any action inflaming any tensions with Venezuela. This protest was organized by the Party for Socialism and Liberation San Antonio. They sent out an invitation for anyone to join in this afternoon's rally. They're among those who are concerned that the latest military attack could escalate into a full-scale war, and there are concerns that the U.S. action violates international law.
They can say whatever they want about why they're doing it, and it's all about oil. They want control of the oil there, that product, and they want control of Latin America.
But reaction to the strike in Venezuela, in Venezuela, is divided amongst those in favor are some Venezuelan nationals here in the San Antonio area. At a Venezuelan restaurant, we heard from people who say this is good for Venezuela and Maduro deserve this.
Drug trafficking, murder, and prosecution to all the people. No? We have thousands of political prisoners.
Now, when it comes to this protest, we got here about 10 minutes before 4 when it started, but it's grown a little bit since then. And we'll keep you up to date on the latest. Phil Sterling reporting from the north side, News 4 San Antonio.
All right, Phil, thank you for that report, sir. We do want to hear from you tonight. Do you support the U.S. military intervention in Venezuela so far? Many of you saying yes, as we understand. There it is. Actually, 62% of you saying no. Of course, that is updated in real time. We'd like to hear from you as well, though. Just go to our website, news4sa.com, or our Facebook page as well.
Governor Greg Abbott posted to social media today his support for the military strike in Venezuela. The governor says President Maduro is an indicted narco-terrorist. He says members of the Venezuelan prison gang Tren de Aragua have terrorized American communities and killed many people in Texas. He goes on to say that Texas and the world are better off because of Maduro's capture.
San Antonio Democratic Representative Joaquin Castro also taking to social media today while acknowledging many people in Venezuela are happy about Maduro's capture. He's also concerned about who will be running the country in the meantime.
President Trump has said that the United States is going to run Venezuela. I believe that they're essentially that he's going to install somebody who is loyal to him, who will allow him to make money for his cronies and for his family members. That's a blueprint that he set up around the world.
In a news conference today, President Trump said the United States would run Venezuela until there is a proper transition of power. He did not offer a timeline of just how long that transition could in fact take. Now, the events out in Venezuela could have a ripple effect far beyond South America.
The decision could impact how the U.S. military moves forward and even the Texas economy. News 4 San Antonio's Joy Bergen continues our team coverage, speaking with a local political expert on what comes next.
Yeah, a lot of different ways that this could go. Reaction is pouring in from around the world tonight. And one of the biggest questions right now is whether President Trump's actions were legal without approval from Congress. Political science professor John Taylor of UTSA says President Trump would not be the first president to take initial action without first consulting Congress in order to keep military plans from reaching its targets.
In fact, Trump kind of alluded to that at this press conference, arguing that, Congress leaks. Okay, all well and fine. But there's something to be said for consulting Congress in what you're going to do in day one after you've done this, when you've tried to effect regime change. Where are we going forward with this, and how are we going forward? Who's in charge? Trump says that he's in charge, or the U.S. is in charge. Okay, then who exactly is that person that's going to be named? How are they going to work with the Venezuelan government?
The president will also have to justify to Congress why he felt this was needed.
President Trump talked at length about oil and talked at length about wealth and resources. He didn't mention much about democracy, restoring Venezuelan democracy.
President Trump says he plans to extract the oil and give it to the people of Venezuela, something that Taylor says will impact Texas directly.
Price of oil is already below what we would want for the state of Texas when it comes to our revenues. Now, all of a sudden, if we're getting cheap Venezuelan oil, instead of West Texas Intermediate being at roughly $58 a barrel, it drops to $38 a barrel. That's not good news for the state of Texas financially.
So what's next? While that's still unclear, Taylor believes it will mean U.S. military forces being planted in Venezuela.
He tried to hem and haw a bit on it, but to be blunt, you only have 15,000 troops that are available, at least with the Carrier Task Force in the Caribbean. If you're going to engage in essentially what is regime change and try to effect a regime change, you're going to have a lot more boots on the ground, as it were.
Now, Taylor also drew parallels to the 1989 invasion of Panama, in which the military leader was removed and charged with drug trafficking and money laundering, saying this differs in that the U.S. at that time had a much larger presence in Panama than it currently has in Venezuela. Reporting from the Content Center, I'm Joy Bergen.
The president has long threatened the possibility of military strikes on Venezuelan territory. There are 35 known strikes against alleged drug smuggling boats in South America since early September, according to announcements from the Trump administration. Those have killed at least 115 people. On August 19th, the U.S. military deployed 3 guided missile destroyers to the waters off Venezuela. On September 2nd, the U.S. carried out its first strike against an alleged drug-carrying vessel. By mid-November, the administration said the total number of troops in the region was around 12,000 on nearly a dozen Navy ships. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth named the administration's effort Operation Southern Spear. On New Year's Day, just 2 days ago, Maduro said on state television that Venezuela was open to negotiating an agreement with the United States to combat drug trafficking.
Be sure to keep it right here on News 4 San Antonio for continuing coverage of the capture of Venezuela's president. We have a network of reporters and the resources of multiple news agencies. We'll continue to have all of the major developments in the coming days.
You can also get the latest online on our news app and see extended interviews and videos on our YouTube channel. NBC Nightly News will have expanded coverage coming up at 5:30.